Look at the bag sitting in your garage right now, the one you sling over your shoulder every Saturday morning. I carried one just like it for 11 years, and it quietly stole yards from my drives on every single back nine, and I never once blamed the bag. Here is the confession that took me too long to make. The wrong golf bag can cost a senior golfer more than 20 yards of carry by the time you reach the closing holes. Not because of the club, because of fatigue, and that number was measured on slower swings, the swing you and I actually have today, not some tour pro pounding it 300 yards. I am going to name 6 bags I wish I had thrown out years ago and 4 that gave me back the distance I thought age had taken. There is a study on carrying load and swing speed decline that changed how I think about every round, and I will hand it to you before the end. This works for the swing you brought to the course this morning, not the one you had at 30. I still remember the exact moment it clicked. Pine Ridge, a warm Sunday in June, the 14th hole, a par 4 I had birdied a dozen times. I striped what felt like my best drive of the day and watched it fall 15 yards short of where it always landed. Same swing, same effort, 15 yards gone. I stood there blaming my age, my back, my clubs, everything except the 34-pound leather bag hanging off my right shoulder. That was the day I started paying attention. Let me start with the bag that fooled me the longest, because it looked like success. The full-size tour staff bag, the big, beautiful leather one with your name embroidered on the side. I bought mine because the pros carry them, and I thought that made me serious. Here is what nobody tells you. A tour staff bag weighs between 8 and 11 pounds, completely empty, before a single club goes in it. Before you add 14 clubs, a dozen balls, a rangefinder, a rain jacket, and 3 sleeves of backups. By the time my staff bag was loaded, it weighed close to 35 pounds. And no tour player on earth carries that bag one single step. A caddy carries it, or it rides on a cart. But I was slinging mine across my shoulder and walking 4 miles with it because I thought that was what real golfers did. Here is why it matters for your distance. Your driver swing speed is not a fixed number. It fades as you tire. Independent testing on club golfers has shown that muscular fatigue late in the round can pull 3 to 5 miles per hour off your swing speed. And every mile per hour of driver speed is worth roughly 2.5 to 3 yards of carry. Do the arithmetic on that. 5 miles per hour lost to fatigue is 12 to 15 yards gone off the tee right when you need it most on the finishing holes where matches are won. The staff bag was the first thing I got rid of. If you own one and you walk the course, that bag is not helping you play like a professional. It is helping you feel like one for the first 4 holes and then robbing you blind for the last 5. Keep it for the cart if you ride every round. But if your feet touch the grass, that thing is an anchor. But the staff bag was not even the worst offender in my garage because at least it had padding. The next one hurt me in a way I did not feel until the damage was done. The single strap carry bag, the old school one with one strap that crosses your body, the kind I learned the game with back in the day. I held onto mine out of pure nostalgia. It felt classic. It felt like the way golf was meant to be carried, and it was slowly wrecking my posture on every hole. Here is what the research says, and this is the part that stopped me cold. Studies on load carriage and the spine have shown that a single asymmetric strap loads one side of your body dramatically more than the other. When you carry 25 to 30 pounds on one shoulder, your spine compensates by leaning, and that lateral lean creates uneven muscular tension that does not reset between shots. Researchers studying golfers who carried single strap bags found measurable increases in trunk muscle activation on the loaded side, the kind of asymmetry that quietly tightens your rotation. And rotation is everything for a senior swing. When you lose distance with age, most of it is not strength. It is rotation. It is the ability to turn your shoulders fully behind the ball and unwind through it. A bag that tightens one side of your back all day is stealing the exact turn you are already fighting to keep. I did not need a fitness coach. I needed to stop carrying my clubs like it was 1972. The fix is almost insultingly simple. A modern dual strap system, the kind that sits on both shoulders like a backpack, distributes that same load evenly across your spine. Testing on backpack style versus single strap carriage consistently shows lower peak load on either shoulder and a more neutral spine position. Your body stays square, your turn stays free, and your last drive of the day looks a lot more like your first. So if you carry, the single strap has to go. Every ounce should sit on both shoulders, balanced, centered, quiet. Therefore, the question becomes not just how much your bag weighs, but how it hangs. And that leads straight into the third bag I wasted my money on, the one that looked like the smart lightweight choice and was actually a trap. But before I get there, I want to share something that connects everything I have been telling you, everything I have laid out so far, the fatigue, the rotation, the yards quietly bleeding away hole by hole. I spent years pulling this together from studies, from my own rounds, and from conversations with golfers just like you. I eventually put all of it into a complete guide called Drive More, Drive Deeper, Drive Longer. It covers every bag type, every weight comparison, and the exact fatigue numbers mapped out hole by hole. The full picture I wish someone had handed me on that Sunday at Pine Ridge. The link is in the description below, and if any of this has already clicked for you, the book will take it the rest of the way. Now, back to that bargain bin pencil bag and why the lightest option on the rack turned out to be one of the most expensive mistakes I ever made. The bargain bin pencil bag, the ultralight Sunday bag that weighs almost nothing. I bought one thinking that if weight was the enemy, then the lightest possible bag was the answer. I was half right, and the half I got wrong cost me strokes in a way I never expected. Here is the problem. Those featherweight pencil bags, the ones that weigh 2 pounds, save weight by cutting out the one thing that protects your investment, full-length dividers. A true 14-way top with full-length dividers keeps every shaft in its own channel from the top of the bag all the way to the bottom. A cheap pencil bag has one open cavity or maybe a plastic top with no dividers running down. Your clubs live in a tangle down there, graphite shaft grinding against graphite shaft, hour after hour, round after round. You might be wondering how that costs you distance, and here is the buried part. Independent inspection of graphite shafts has found that shaft-on-shaft contact over time creates microabrasions in the finish, and in the worst cases, tiny stress points in the shaft wall. A compromised graphite shaft does not fail dramatically. It just loses a little of its consistency, a little of its snap, and your dispersion opens up without you ever knowing why. You blame your swing. It was the bag letting your clubs beat each other up in the trunk of your car for 3 seasons. There is also the crashing. Every time you pull a club from a dividerless bag, the others clatter down against each other. Over a few hundred rounds, that adds up to real wear on the graphite, especially on the driver and fairway shafts that cost the most. I replaced a 3-wood once, thinking the shaft had gone soft. It had. The bag did it. So the pencil bag is not the answer just because it is light. Weight matters, but protection matters too. And the trick is finding both in the same bag. Therefore, the real target is a bag that is genuinely light and still has full-length individual dividers. That combination exists, and I will name the exact ones that earned a spot in my trunk in a minute. But first, I have to confess the bag that embarrassed me the most because it was the one I thought made me look organized and modern. The oversized cart bag carried on the shoulder. This is the one I see senior golfers make constantly, and I did it for 2 full seasons. A cart bag is designed to sit still on a riding cart or a push cart. It is tall, it is wide, it has a 14-way top and 10 pockets and a cooler sleeve and a spot for your umbrella. It can weigh 6 or 7 pounds empty, sometimes more, and it has no proper carry strap because it was never meant to be carried. I bought mine because it looked loaded with features. Then on days the cart was not available, I would sling that monster over my shoulder with a cheap strap and haul it around. It sat wrong, it banged against my hip, the weight rode low and pulled me backward, and the low Pulling weight forces you into a compensating forward lean every step, which is exactly the posture fatigue you do not want stacking up before you swing. Here is the distinction that took me too long to learn. There are 3 kinds of bags, and each does exactly one job well. A stand bag is built to be carried light with a dual strap and legs that pop out. A cart bag is built to ride heavier, feature-rich, meant to strap onto a cart and never touch your shoulder, and a staff bag is built for a caddy or pure display. The mistake I made, the mistake that costs so many of us, is using one type of bag for the wrong job. A cart bag on your shoulder, a staff bag on a walk, a pencil bag protecting nothing. Match the bag to how you actually get around the course. If you ride or push every single round, a cart bag is genuinely the right tool, and carrying weight stops being your problem at all. If you walk, even sometimes, you need a true stand bag and nothing else. Mixing them up is where the yards leak out. Now, I know exactly what a lot of you are thinking right now, because I thought it too. You are thinking, I am not about to run out and buy a brand new bag just because some fellow on the internet regrets his choices. You already own your bag. You are attached to it, and maybe money is tight and a new bag is the last thing you want to spend on. So this next part is for you specifically, the golfer who wants to fix this today with what is already in the garage. You do not have to buy a thing to get most of this back. First, weigh your bag. Actually, weigh it loaded on a bathroom scale the way you carry it to the first tee. Most of us are stunned. I was carrying 9 pounds of stuff I never used. Pull out the extra sleeves of balls you never open. Take out the rain suit on a sunny day. Empty the pocket full of old scorecards, broken tees, and a rangefinder battery from 2 years ago. I stripped 6 pounds out of my bag in 10 minutes standing in my driveway, and 6 pounds off your shoulder for 4 miles is real energy saved for your swing. Second, if you carry a single strap bag and cannot replace it yet, most of them came with a second strap you never attached, or you can buy a dual strap replacement for around $15 to $20 that clips right onto the existing anchors. That one change for the price of 2 sleeves of balls moves the load off one shoulder and onto both. Your back at the end of the round will feel the difference immediately. Third, and this is the one nobody thinks of, load your bag correctly. Put your heaviest clubs, the driver and woods, in the top dividers closest to your back. Put your wedges and short irons toward the front. Keeping the heavy end high and close to your spine keeps the weight over your center of gravity instead of pulling you backward or sideways. It is the same principle as packing a hiking backpack, and it makes a loaded bag feel pounds lighter with zero cost. Fourth, if you have any way to walk with a push cart instead of carrying, do it, even a borrowed one. And I'm going to prove exactly why in a moment, because the push cart is at the center of the biggest discovery I made, the one that gave me back the yards I thought were gone forever. Because here is where the confession turns into redemption. Once I understood that fatigue was the thief, I went looking for the 4 setups that actually protect a senior golfer's distance from the first tee to the 18th green, and the numbers behind them are the whole reason I made this video. The first bag that earned its place is the genuine ultralight stand bag with full-length dividers. I am talking about bags in the class of the Sun Mountain 4.5 LS or the Pinghoofer, bags that weigh right around 5 pounds, fully built, with a true dual strap and full-length individual channels for every club. 5 pounds instead of the 11-pound staff bag empty. That is 6 pounds you are not carrying on every step of every hole. Over a 4-mile round, that is thousands of steps of saved load, and saved load is preserved swing speed on the back 9. These run around $250 to $280, and mine has outlasted 3 drivers. The second setup that changed everything is the quality push cart paired with a proper cart style or hybrid bag. And this is the heart of the secret I promised you, so stay with me. I resisted the push cart for years because I thought it was for people who could not handle carrying their own bag. Pride, pure pride. That pride was costing me distance on every round I played, and I can now show you the number. Here is the study that broke it open for me, and this is the buried research I told you was coming. Sports science researchers examining the physiological cost of golf compared carrying a bag against using a push cart across full 18-hole rounds. Carrying your clubs raises your energy expenditure and your heart rate substantially compared to pushing them. One body of research on walking golfers found that carrying a bag increased the metabolic cost of the round by roughly 15 to 20% over using a wheeled cart. 15 to 20% more energy burned over 4 hours before you even factor in the heat. Now connect that to swing speed. That extra energy does not vanish. It comes out of your tank, and your tank is what powers your rotation and your speed through the ball. The more you deplete yourself hauling weight, the more your swing speed sags on the closing holes. Testing on recreational golfers has shown swing speed and shot quality decline measurably in the final third of a round when players are fatigued, and the effect is larger for older golfers whose recovery between shots is slower. Preserve the energy, and you preserve the speed. Preserve the speed, and you keep the yards. That is where the 20-plus yards comes from. It is not one magic club. It is the difference between arriving at the 16th tee fresh versus arriving there cooked. When I switched from carrying my staff bag to pushing my clubs on a click gear style cart, my drives on the last 4 holes stopped falling short. Same swing I always had. I just brought it to the tee with something left in the tank. On the 14th at Pine Ridge, the hole that started all of this, my ball started landing where it used to again. I did not get younger. I stopped wasting myself before I got there. A good push cart runs somewhere between $200 and $250 and lasts for years. Pair it with a hybrid bag that works both on the cart and for a short carry, and you have the most distance-preserving setup a senior golfer can own, especially if you walk in any kind of heat. The heat multiplies everything. On a 90-degree day, the golfer carrying 30 pounds is not just tired by the 16th. He is done. The golfer pushing his club still has a swing. The third setup worth owning is the hybrid stand bag, the 14-way lightweight bag that has legs to stand on its own but also sits securely on a push cart. This is the versatile answer for the golfer who sometimes rides, sometimes pushes, and sometimes carries a few holes. It gives you the full-length dividers to protect your shafts, the dual strap for the times you carry, and the flat base and strap pass-through for the cart. Bags like the Titleist Hybrid 14 or the Sun Mountain Hybrid line do this well, and they solve the one bag for every situation problem that had me owning 4 bags and using the wrong one constantly. The fourth and final setup on my keep list is the one I would give a walking senior golfer who insists on carrying no matter what, and it comes back to that ultralight stand bag, but with one addition I learned the hard way. Get the version with a hip pad and a wide contoured dual strap, not the thin nylon straps. The width of the strap matters more than almost anyone realizes. A wider strap spreads the same weight across more surface area on your shoulders, which lowers the pressure on the soft tissue and the nerves running down your arm. Thin straps concentrate the load into a narrow band that goes numb and tight. I carried a numb left arm for years and thought it was my age. It was a cheap strap. Now let me give you the finale, the single most surprising thing I found in all of this. The fix you can apply this very weekend that costs you nothing at all. Because everything I have told you about weight and fatigue points to one insight that almost no golfer acts on. The order in which you fatigue is the order in which you lose yards, and you can spend your energy on purpose. Here is what I mean. Since the research is clear that swing speed sags in the final third of the round, the smartest thing a senior golfer can do is protect that final third before it arrives. That means walking your first several holes at a relaxed, deliberate pace, keeping your heart rate down early, and if you are pushing a cart, letting the cart do the work rather than muscling it uphill. It means drinking water before you are thirsty and eating something around the 9th hole, not the 15th. It means treating your energy like the club length asset it actually is. And here is the piece that stunned me straight out of that comparison of carrying versus pushing. The golfers who conserved their energy early did not just feel better late, they putted better. Fatigue does not only cost you swing speed, it costs you the fine motor control and focus that lie behind every 3-foot putt on the closing holes. So the wrong bag, the heavy one, the single strap one, is not only shaving yards off your drives, it is handing away the short putts that decide your score. When I lightened my load and started pushing my clubs, my back nine 3-putts dropped, and I had never once connected my bag to my putting until I saw the fatigue data. That is the whole redemption arc in one sentence. I made the mistake of thinking my bag was just luggage. Marketing sold me the heavy leather status symbol and the 2-pound gimmick alike, and never once told me either one was costing me strokes. The testing on load and fatigue was sitting there the whole time, buried under advertisements for bags that look good in the trunk, and now you have it, so you never have to lose those yards to a bag again. Think about what that means for your next round. The bag on your shoulder is not neutral. It is either protecting your energy or draining it. And your energy is your distance and your putting stroke on the holes that count. For the price of stripping 6 pounds of junk out of your bag, attaching a second strap, or rolling your clubs on a push cart instead of hauling them, you can arrive at the 16th tee with the swing you had on the first. That is the closest thing to a fountain of youth I have found in 40 years of golf, and it does not cost you a driver upgrade. So here is where I land after all my wasted money and all my wrong bags. You did not lose those 20 yards to your age. You lost them to a bag that was quietly emptying your tank before you got to the holes that mattered, and now you know how to take them back. You are the kind of golfer who refuses to keep paying for the same mistake twice, or you would not have watched this far. That is exactly what this channel is for. Now I want to hear from you. Which one is hanging in your garage right now? The heavy leather staff bag, the old single strap, or the 2-pound pencil bag that is letting your shafts grind each other to death? Tell me in the comments which bag you have been carrying and whether you walk, ride, or push, because I read them and I answer them. Do not just think it. Type it out. And if you want the full breakdown, every bag, every weight, every price, and the exact fatigue numbers laid out hole by hole, the complete guide is linked below as an ebook, and it is the resource I wish someone had handed me on that Sunday at Pine Ridge. Subscribe and stand with the senior golfers who refuse to overpay and refuse to hand their yards away one quiet round at a time. Because in the next confession, I am going to show you the club in your bag that the fitters quietly stopped recommending for slow swings a decade ago, and why the one sitting in your bag today might be the single most overstiff club you own. That one cost me more than any bag ever did, and I will prove it with the numbers. I'm the fella who carried that bag for years, and this video only scratched the surface. Inside the Senior Fairway Club, I pick up right where we just stopped. You can ask me your own question, and I answer you myself, no bots. Senior golfers like you already belong in there with me. Just point your phone's camera at the code on your screen, and you can cancel anytime with one click. If this helped you rethink your gear, there's plenty more waiting for you right here. Go ahead and subscribe, then take a look around. I'll keep the good advice coming for you.